Here's one towards the goal. That's going to be gloved by Travis Ridgen. Well, this is more like it.
This is Slanging the Biscuit. Here's Travis Ridgen and Dave Wheeler.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Slinging the Biscuit and our summer interview series. Today's guest, this guy was a first-round pick by the St. Louis Blues in 2012, weighing in at 6'3", 210, the pride of Madison, Wisconsin. This guy played over 350 pro games. He's built like a riding lawnmower. Welcome to the show, host of Hockey Night in Scottsdale, Missing Curfew, Butter Golf, Jordan J. Schmaltz.
Fellas, thanks for having me. You are reporting live right now from the chin of Las Vegas. That is Winnipeg, Manitoba. And I love Winnipeg, boys. One of my favorite, sneakiest cities in North America. But thanks for having me on here. Trav, I know we've been trying to correlate this thing for like the better parts of 2 months. We're like, are you busy this day? Then you got a window here, and then I'm somewhere. So it's finally good to make this happen, brother. I'm fired up to be here. So what's going on, fellas? What's shaking?
Well, listen,
in Vegas of the North?
I want to know if you have any insight on what's going on in Scottsdale and Glendale and the ownership. I mean, you're there. You're doing a show. You got to know something.
I know, man. Shit. Your guess is as good as mine. Right now, it sucks. Like there's no hockey, and obviously last year and the last couple of years playing at the iconic Mullet Arena, the NHL, was playing in that little spectacle where ASU plays. It still wasn't the same, but even this year, it just doesn't seem right. There's no NHL team here. I'm rocking actually the old school Coyotes hat on right now. But yeah, man, it's been different. I've been up to Salt Lake City a couple times to see my brother. They got a good thing going on there with Ryan Smith and obviously the hockey club, but we need a team back here. It sucks. College hockey, listen, I'm a college guy through and through, went to the University of North Dakota, but college hockey, as you know, is not the National League, and it sucks. It's a different vibe here for sure.
Do they deserve a team?
Yes. Hell yeah, man. Yeah. Put it on the north side of town. There's a ton of snowbirds down here. You can make it happen. It's just they've never had a stable arena or ownership. So what can you do? If you put the right pieces in place, you get a guy like Shane Doan, maybe even a guy like Ray Whitney involved, and a really good ownership group to bring back a team and have an arena. Yeah, it would be great. Who wouldn't want to play here? The guys in the league, this is a top 5 destination as far as I'm concerned. With the weather, you can't beat it during hockey season.
We could paint a magic brush. Whatever you want, you can do. What would you do to get hockey back in Arizona and fix it?
I might go start digging the hole tomorrow. Let's get this team back here. But no, I just think if it's the Suns owner or there's a big time owner that wants to come in and put a team here, like the expansion, moving to Houston or Atlanta first, like let's focus on getting it back here in AZ. And I think, if it's done right, it'll last. And there's definitely a ton of hockey fans here. You can't be playing in Tempe and you can't be playing in Glendale. I mean, Glendale that's damn near Tijuana, boys. Like who wants to go out there on a Tuesday, drive 40 miles and, you can't even get drunk. You got to just leave your car there or go sober. So if you put it in the right spot, hockey for sure can make it here. And people definitely miss it.
Well, I'm curious to know, you hung him up a little earlier than most guys, and I know you still got hockey as a passion, obviously, with doing the podcast and everything. So, I mean, is it in the cards for you to possibly jump in with the organization, kind of doing what Biz does as far as doing some analytic stuff or maybe even the coaching realms? I mean, do you still feel like you have something to offer?
For sure. I think for me, just on the playing front, like injuries and just kind of got burnt out. I wasn't, having a ton of fun. I was playing in Switzerland. I had a back concussion my last year there. So I was just I knew I wanted to get into this space. And I think, definitely in the future, I would love to get back into a front office or do something like that. But right now, I'm the people's insider, boys, self-proclaimed over here. I can help a team any way they want. I can get in and, do different things within the media, different things. Last year, even we had an alternate cast with Hockey Night in Scottsdale where we were calling games on a local channel, like stream for the Coyotes. And obviously when the team fell through, that kind of went to the ship, but definitely doing something on the sides of growing the game, bringing that uncut, unfiltered, yet being able to articulate and have some knowledge within the game is kind of where I find myself at best, a cross between comedy and hockey. And yeah, I would definitely love to team up with whoever it would be, but we gotta focus on getting a team here first, getting an arena.
Schmaltz, I've been a big fan of yours for a bit. I think I've been following you for about 6 months. Like you mentioned, the comedy touch to hockey, and I think you do a fantastic job. But if, let's say, you're sitting down with the guys who are going to end up paying to dig the hole in Arizona, or somebody listening to the show that has no idea who you are, what's your 30-second elevator pitch? Who is Jordan Schmaltz? What does he do?
I like to be able to say I can throw both ways, where I can be way outrageous on one end of a comedy kind of sector, no filter, but also keep it buttoned up. And I kind of play to my audience in terms of what I bring. And I just think it's real, it's raw, and it's not forced. It's just something that it's basically like hanging out in a locker room, where that is something I try to bring to everyday life when I'm talking about hockey or it's comedy. It's just something that, you sit down and you hold court within a locker room. So if I'm giving a pitch to someone, it's like I can be almost an ambassador to your team. I can not only connect in a different way, I think, on a multiple levels of different ethnicities or all walks of people, but also have a knowledge of the game, playing for 9 years pro and being a high first round pick, and ultimately not playing as many games as I thought, but it is what it is. I just think I have the ability. My best attribute, I would say, is probably the ability to connect with people and also just shine some light on humor and realize this isn't that serious, fellas.
Yeah, no, you said that right. Now, by the time this airs, you'll have already done it, but I'm curious to know, from what I understand, you've got kind of a Kill Tony live show setup that you guys are doing. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we've done, I think, 12 live shows with Hockey Night in Scottsdale now, where it's been in various cities across North America, obviously Canada. We have a big following in certain select cities. We did our first show ever actually at Cowboys up in Calgary. How are you? Great spot up there. We've been to Toronto. We're doing a show here in Vancouver at the Roxy coming up. Fired up for that to get to Vancouver. So we've done shows in Canada and also in U.S. cities like St. Louis, Chicago, New York, Buffalo. So yeah, it's improv. It's a little bit of written bits, and it's also just kind of a live podcast. So I would say kind of that tri-blend of three different things coming into one. And that's what we try to bring is just definitely a little bit of hockey talk, but that thing's going to get off the rails quick, and we're going to let it go that way. So it's definitely a stand-up style where, hopefully not too many people are recording what we say, just for the fact that, in a sense of, we like to keep it intimate with the people there and the live viewers and give them a different look versus our normal pods we do. But it's a lot of fun. I love getting on stage, and it gives you kind of that same feel or that same just jitterness as you would go out kind of coming through the tunnel, going out for a game, whatever it is in the National League or whatever league. It just gives you that same kind of juice flowing through the veins. And that's what I find that I really like is you got to get out there and you got to perform. And like I say, you got to put your chin on the line.
Well, as a guy who's done stand-up for the majority of my life, I think you'll appreciate this quote. It goes all the way back to Shakespeare, who said, "To die on stage is to die 1,000 deaths." And nobody really understands that until you've been on stage and you've bombed.
Yes. Yeah, we had a thing in Edmonton last year during the Stanley Cup final where we did like this appearance, or it was supposed to be like this. It was a paid appearance, but it was also like, okay, you have to do like a little bit of a bit to start. And these people in Edmonton were just so dialed in. They were down 2-0 in the series, and they actually ended up going down 3-0. But it was before that game 3, and these people were so on edge, and we were like trying to tell jokes, and we just completely just bombed. I'm sitting there like, I just feel like a fucking loser. I just want to crawl into a hole right now. But I mean, so we just ended up getting drunk and hanging out with people. But it was like the text and even just like the tweets afterwards, and people were like, "God, you guys kind of bombed it." I'm like, yeah. So I understand what it feels like now, because we were kind of riding high. We had a couple of good shows. We thought we had good momentum, but I guess you just never know, right?
Look, man, if anyone's going to bomb in Edmonton, let it be the Oilers in the playoffs, okay?
Yeah, true. Like, come on. Me. Yeah,
it was accountable
crowd.
there. You got to tell them the guys at Cowboys in Calgary was way better. Get off your feet, Edmonton.
I was trying to tell them that, and they were just not having it. They're like, we don't care. Our team's down right now. Our power play's clicking at 16%. McDavid sucks. It's like, well, just chill out a little bit. Can you at least like maybe laugh at one of my shitty jokes to make me feel good? And no, we didn't even get that. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. I really enjoy the art of it though, coming up with jokes and then also just kind of playing in the improv game, because that's where I feel I do my best work. Shoot from the hip.
You mentioned Team Cord. What's the most outrageous thing you've ever been fined for?
Outrageous thing I've been fined for?
In Team Cord, yeah.
In Team Cord, I don't know. I always thought, like, especially as the younger players in like coming up on your entry level contracts, whether you're in the American League or you make it to the NHL, like the bar makeouts were always so funny. It's like you get fined for public PDA, but it's like if you're making out with something decent, like I'll eat that fine all day, right? Like here's what do you need? What do you need, Steiner? 500, 1,000. That was a great makeout. That was a game. That was a best of 7 tonsil hockey we had going on right there at that table. But I think that one is always the funniest. The public PDA is just an auto chalk up. Like it's no questions. You just gotta donate to the Find Fund. It is what it is. But a lot of guys definitely get embarrassed by that. But I always respected the guys that would just wear that proudly. Like, oh yeah, I had to, and I got it done that night. So no big deal. I'll eat that.
I appreciate you saying that it was money well spent. Now, this is a question we ask all of our guests. I'm curious to know that first big bonus you get drafted into the league. What do you spend it on?
I didn't really go crazy. I was kind of like frugal with it for honestly. I mean, not that it was a ton of money, but I think the biggest thing I probably bought was a nice truck. Just for a kid from Wisconsin, I bought a F-150 Ford Raptor my second year. So I'd gotten called up, I think, my first year for like 2 or 3 weeks. And, obviously that was the difference between making $70K or a prorated $925. So I got a decent chunk that year, my first year. And then my second year, I was called up for probably like half the year or maybe 3 months. So then I kind of treated myself. I was like, all right, I got a little scratch now. I'm going to buy a truck. And I got a Ford Raptor 2017 Ford Raptor black on black. I was fired up I should have just lived in that thing. It was nicer than my apartment I was living in St. Louis or in Chicago in the AHL. So that was nice. That was a nice little touch.
38-inch rims?
I don't know if it wasn't jacked up. I didn't go too crazy with it. I didn't go full redneck or white trash. I just kept it stock. I think there were, I don't know, 24s, maybe 22, something like that. Big tires though. Nice all-wheel drive.
Straight off the rack?
Straight off the rack, but it was like a souped up. It was like the fully loaded Raptor. So I actually bought it in Belleville, Wisconsin, just an old farm town. Yeah. And right off the rack. She was nice. It was nice.
The way you're talking about it in past tense, I'm assuming you don't have it anymore.
I don't, but I do drive one of my rigs I drive now is a 2-tone Malone 96 baby blue white Bronco stick shift. It's sick. Cassette player in it. Oh yeah, she sucks.
Oh yeah, nice. With the top down in Arizona, I bet you that thing cruises along very nicely at 60.
Yes, even just the stick shift too. Like you get someone in there like, wow, you can drive stick. I'm like, yeah, come on, like, come on.
Why is that impressive in this day and age?
Like, that's what I'm saying. But it's a lost art. It is a lost art. Most people can't even drive. They just take an Uber. And I got a stick shift just cranking that thing. Little Brooks and Dunn on the cassette player. How are you, boys?
Fun fact, Danielle Craig, who played the role of James Bond, still can't drive a manual transmission. Never could. Filming all really? 5 of those movies. Yep. Nope. Wow. Yeah, see, like that's just, I'm telling you, it's a lost art. And especially down here, too. Like, you guys, good Toba, Alberta, like Wisconsin, North Dakota, kind of all the same. Down here, it's definitely like some kid from California that's a TikTok kid. No chance.
You need a good pair of underwear to keep cool, compartmentalized.
What a transition.
Comfortable. Especially if you're the goalie for the Ottawa Senators. You're going to be like, holy shit, we got no back checking tonight. I'm going to put my dick in my balls, my cannolis, my bocconcinis, and a nice pair of sheath underwear. Here's why. They have an incredible dual pouch technology. It's a separated compartment to put all your manly parts where they need to go so they're not touching, sticking to the side of your leg. You don't have to like peel it off the side of your leg. It's compartmentalized, it's cool, it's comfortable with the bamboo mesh. And right now, sheath underwear, you go to the link in the video description. Use the code BISCUIT69. We changed it back to the old code, by the way. It's BIZKIT 69, BISCUIT69. We'll get you 20% off the greatest pair of underwear money has ever bought. And if you're tired of your father being disappointed in you like mine is, get a pair of sheath underwear and he will be proud of you once again.
And ladies, there's stuff for you there too. So don't think that you're being shut out on this one. Well, okay, let's go into Wisconsin here a little bit because we had another guest on who's from your state, and I asked him the question. I'll ask you the same one. What's stopping Milwaukee from getting a team? I don't know. I don't think there's a big enough demand for it. I really don't. I think the Admirals have obviously had a strong tradition in Milwaukee. I just think Milwaukee, in terms of the inner city, is a little run down. It's a little bit of Section 8. It's a little bit of just, crime oriented. I just, in the surrounding areas of Milwaukee, like theoretically, it would be a big enough city to do it. I just don't think the demand for hockey would be big enough or warrant NHL. And I say that with all due respect. I love my state. Milwaukee gets a bad rap. It is a nicer city than most would say that do know the area. But I just don't think it's big enough. I really don't. And you have the Blackhawks right there, right down the 94. So I just think it'd be a little premature. But then again, Salt Lake City, they're there now. It's kind of a similar size city. But I just don't think it's in the cards for Milwaukee. I really don't. We are going to talk golf a little bit later, but I'm curious to know: have you played the what's the name of the course that they played the Ryder Cup at, or the President's Cup?
Whistling Straits.
Yeah, Whistling Straits. You played it?
Yeah. I played it probably 4 or 5 times. Boys, we used to do this trip where it would be my dad, my brother, and then we bring a guest. Whoever would be. We brought a friend at North Dakota, Brock Besser, a couple times, some local buddies, but my bro went up there with a group of NHL dudes that they played with at Whistling Straits, and Christian Fisher got a hole-in-one on, I believe it was hole 7, and then Nick got a hole-in-one. I think it was on 15 or 14 in the same round. It was insane. Like, I wasn't there, but I was getting the FaceTimes. Like, I got the FaceTime, Fish dunked, and then 5-6 holes later, Nick dunked. So they had back-to-back dunks in one round at Whistling Straits. Pretty sick.
Okay, listen, we're already into the golf. I'm asking golf questions now.
Sure.
Tell me about Butter Golf, because I mean, it blows me away that hockey and golf. I mean, it doesn't blow me away, but hockey and golf are just synonymous. I mean, most hockey players are golfers in the off season, and being in Arizona, being in Scottsdale, you're in God's country as far as golf goes. So walk me through how Butter Golf came about.
Yeah, so it was during COVID, and I think that's when I thought about the idea when I was still obviously playing, and I love the crossover between golf and hockey, and more so I love the cross between the lingo. Like, we would always say something on the ice would be butter, and that would translate to golf. Obviously, like you hit a little butter cut, or oh man, those are nice mitts, the butter mitts, hitting it out of the sand on a sand shot. So I think there was always just a cross between the lingo, and I wanted to shine light on the hockey lingo that we all know into golf, because I thought there was definitely something there that could be shared and could be spread around, no pun intended. So that was kind of the launch of the idea. And then I had just always loved the creative side of coming up with different designs, coming up with different logos, and ultimately wanted to put something together that, again, bridged that gap between everyday golfers and just kind of the modern, not only hockey player, but just lifestyle of what it means to be butter. So then I started just kind of piecing it together. I slowly put together the LLC website, launching different things. And yeah, it's year 2.5, or maybe almost coming up on year 3 here of having Butter Golf. I had initially launched it when I first went over to Switzerland, and then my mom was actually kind of helping me ship everything out when I was over in the Swiss Alps, and she was still stateside. So yeah, just big thing now for me with Butter Golf is just developing, because before it was just kind of hats and some different collabs I had done with Lululemon and some other decent brands, but now it's more so developing fabrics, textures, and kind of putting things together, put my own stamp on it, and we're gonna have some pretty cool stuff launching here in the next month that I'm excited about. But the coolest thing is just the guys in the league repping it. I think, ultimately you need golfers wearing your stuff in a golf brand, but I think it's become more of a golf brand where it's just more so lifestyle based. And that's where I'm excited to kind of just keep shuffling it out and putting it into just cool people and like-minded individuals' hands where, guys are repping it, like Willie Nylander, Austin Matthews, big fan of the show. So yeah, we'll see. But I just love the art side of it, and also just kind of the lifestyle side of what it really means to be butter, and that's kind of how it just transpired.
So I'm if you don't mind me asking, I'm curious. So you got this Butter Golf, Nylander's got it, Matthews got it. Obviously, you have the Arizona connection there. But how exactly do you go about, as being a guy who has essentially nothing, to building the brand? Do you want to try some of the stuff on? Like, how did you facilitate that?
What do you mean, just in terms of how did I get it in their hands?
Yeah, and to get them to consistently wear it.
Yeah, I would say those two is nice, because Matthews is here in the summer. So, whether we were skating together while I was still playing, or, playing tennis or whatever, it was easy. He initially reached out and be like, yo, I like this logo. It's sick. Like, can I get some stuff? So obviously, we're going to deliver that and get him whatever he needs. But the Nylander thing too is he played with my brother growing up for the Chicago Mission. They grew up playing AAA hockey together. So that was an easy one too. I've known Willie since he was probably 8 years old. We went over to Sweden, I think 3 or 4 times, did different training camps with the local pro team there in the summers, Garden. Mikey Nylander was actually my last agent, his dad. So really good connection with that side of the things and in terms of that family. But yeah, man, I think it's just cool. Like when NHL guys, even, younger, hit me up and like, yo, can I get some stuff? That I think that's the coolest part of the art is when people recognize, who's behind it, and ultimately they like the designs or they like the logo, and just get into the hands of that. And that's kind of the word of the mouth right now. I mean, it's essentially a glorified startup, but we do have big aspirations for it. And as we continue to grow and hopefully get it to not only hockey players, but golfers, other athletes, and even just whoever it is, actors, actresses, just personalities. That's kind of the mission of Behind Butter.
I've been really vocal about this, and I think you have too. It fascinates me how tightly knit the golf YouTube community has come in such a short time, and I've been begging for hockey to kind of do the same thing. I think you're really on the precipice of something, man, because YouTube and golf. I'm at the point now where I'm enjoying watching YouTube golf almost more than I enjoy watching the PGA Tour.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's because it's real, it's raw, it's uncut. It relates to the everyday golfer. Not a lot of these guys are unbelievable out there. A lot of them are, maybe some hacks or hacksaw Jim Duggins, if you will. There's a lot of guys out there that are just like everyday golfers, like that Bob Does Sports guy. He's hilarious. I really like watching his stuff. And then you have other guys, YouTube golfers, that are actually really good sticks. They can play at, a pretty good level of scratch or even a plus player. But I just think we're like the NHL. They need to let their hair down a little bit. They need to influx more of not necessarily like a bad boy approach, but it's so vanilla. Even when I was up there for the Four Nations, and it's no disrespect to all the creators that were at that game playing like a little 3-on-3 thing before one of the games, but I just think there's so much room within YouTube, and there's so much room within comedy and different things where they could open it up and take the governor off a little bit and not act, in terms of in fear or being scared of some of these creators. At the end of the day, like the creators, they represent themselves. They don't represent the league as a whole. And I just think there's a way to do it where you could get so many more eyes on hockey versus just the traditional hockey fans and kind of just playing it safe all the time. And then that's not to say like you need to go out and just get like lunatics, but like, you can keep it PG-13 or a little R, and it's entertainment at the end of the day. And I think the NHL that's what they're lacking a little bit. I think in terms of the entertainment value, if you look at the UFC and some of these other leagues that are just thriving, it's just like they just let the athletes be themselves, and they just take it and just deal with whatever happens after. And generally it's good for not only the sport, but puts dollars back into the athletes' pockets as well.
Yeah, I think you said it right. I mean, you're one of the few guys that I remember seeing interviews on. I'm like, oh, that guy's actually got a personality. Like he's not that uniform answer every single time. And it's unfortunate because I feel guys like that get not necessarily shuffled out, but they maybe don't get as much screen time as much anymore because it seems like the NHL is afraid to point out that there are different personalities in a locker room.
Yeah, it's just the stigma too around it, right? Where it's like, okay, if you're not a star player, you shut up and you just keep your answers in this box, and it's head down, and it's, we got to get pucks in deep. Our cycle game's got to get better. We got to chip it in, chip it out, and then we got to, get the cycle. And it's like repetitive. They just keep repeating themselves where it's like, man, if they felt like they could be comfortable and be themselves, whether it's a star player or not, like you would have so many more eyes on hockey. And even, I'm not saying like the NBA does it right at all, but it's like what those guys' salaries are and how they are tied into pop culture and just the lifestyle of different things, whether it's hip hop or just everything. I think the NHL is lacking that, where it's, you could be coming into a game, wearing something outrageous. Why not? Who cares? It's not that big of a deal. Why do I have to have a half Windsor on my knot for my tie and be wearing something from Brooks Brothers? It's like, you don't need that. Like, be able to wear showcase whoever you are. Walk in with something crazy, because ultimately that gets clicks, that gets back to the league, and that shows, okay, well, wow, look at this hockey guy. Like he's doing something different. And that's how you really rope other people in. And then once you actually go to a game, as you guys know, if you're a non-traditional hockey fan watching a game for the first time, you're like, this is sick. Like, it's the fastest game in the world. There's fights, there's hits, there's, pucks flying around. It's crazy. So that's where I just think it's like, you got to stop playing so safe at times and just, really like push these guys to showcase that more.
Well, let's just say you're still in the league and you want to do what you're doing now. You want to have a golf brand. You want to have a podcast. You want to do these live shows. Do you think the NHL says, yeah, no problem, Schmaltz, you go do that?
No chance. No chance. But then you see other sports where like Draymond Green will only talk about what Draymond Green wants to talk about on his podcast. He's like, I'm going to ice all these members of the media and I'll, address this situation tomorrow on my podcast. Now all the views are coming to him. I'm not saying that's right, but that's a way like, why don't the Kachuk brothers have a podcast? Why don't these guys talk once a week like the Kelsey brothers? And how cool would that be? Just an inside look.
Well, I mean, they got pimped out a lot during the Four Nations face-off to basically anyone who would be willing to have them. And then they just put them right back in the locker as soon as they were done with the Four Nations Cup. Like, I mean, people really enjoyed that. I mean, why would you stop that?
I know. And they made their rounds a little bit. Like, I think Matthew did Jimmy Fallon one night. Brady did a couple other things in terms of a couple Barstool interviews. They had like a little bit of a parade afterwards. But then again, like you said, 10 days later, it's forgotten about. And this time of year, of course, playoffs are around the corner. I get that, but I'm saying it could be all year round. These guys could be talking like if you lose a game on a Tuesday, 6-2, it's not because you talked on a podcast the day before. And that's how a lot of these old heads think. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's just not how it is.
Well, I mean, even in the trials and tribulations of you playing in the lower rungs of minor pro, I mean, even the GMs there that wanted to have their thumb on all of the content. It just blows me away. I mean, it just goes all the way up the ranks. It's like they're afraid to be seen.
Well, I remember like one of our first road trips out of Motor City when I was playing the Fed Schmaltz. I'm sure you heard of it in the jungle there.
Oh yeah.
And our first road trip, where I don't know, I guess we're leaving like 4 p.m. We're sitting there waiting outside on the sidewalk, waiting for the bus. It's an hour and a half late. We're like, where is this guy? Well, we hope he shows up so we can make warm-ups. He finally shows up, load everything on the bus, does a lap around the parking lot. He runs out of gas, says, oh, it's the alternator. No, dude, the fuel's on E. We got to get out. We got to get some rental vans. We drive down to the game, like stuff like that. And I remember we come back after the home and home, and the GM calls me and he's like, I don't want to hear about this in the podcast. I don't want to see any footage of it. We did not run out of gas. Like, bro, we ran out of gas in the parking lot of our own arena on a road trip.
These are great stories.
This is hilarious. Everybody wants to hear this. But
yeah,
you want to hear Vanilla
too.
Ice. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's hilarious, the fact that we rented the bus. We don't own the bus. It's not our bus driver. And this dude shows up an hour and a half late. He's like, oh, man, I'm going to be late. He knew he was out of gas and said, you know what? I'm going to squeeze out an extra hour and a half. I know the fuel light's on, but we can make it 2 hours down the road.
Oh, man, that's the real jungle, brother. That's the real jungle. Is that the same league as Danbury?
Yep, and the hat tricks, yeah. I played for half the teams before they started adding teams.
Is AJ Galante, is he still the owner of that squad?
No, so AJ got hired as like an assistant GM this year for the Danbury Hat Trick, so he's kind of involved, but kind of not. He doesn't have a whole lot of wiggle room in there, but he's a cool guy, man. I've been on his show, and he's been on ours as well. He's a real beauty.
Yeah, I gotta get one of those jerseys. Those jerseys were sick back in the day. The Danbury Trashers, nasty unis.
Walk me through how the podcast actually started and your association with.
Can we go back to the social?
Because
I'm curious to pick your brain on this, Schmaltz. Sorry for cutting you
go
off.
for it.
Like, I see the way the NHL is doing media is they brought in these interns from these universities, which, let's call it for what it is. They're very left-leaning, they're very woke, and that's running the NHL media department. And woke and what hockey actually is, that you and I know hockey is, do not blend well together. So we've cut out the personality. We can only see things one way. We're going to gas any physicality, any fighting, any off-brand personality, where you and I both know, Schmaltzy, guys have personality in the locker room, and it's get in the cycle game. We need another save. We just got to be better. 2 points. And like they're totally suffocating with their boot on the neck of hockey. Like, would you agree with that? And if I could wave my magic wand and you could fix things, what would you do?
Yeah, I just think there's got to be both sides. Like, you can't just favor one side of the story. And I think right now what it seems like, it's just the NHL is playing just a very safe hand. And again, it's not like it's going to be like vulgar or over the top, or guys are going to come out. It's just going to be the wild, wild west, like WWE here. But even in my experience, like, of trying to work with the NHL and in the content creator world, I guess it would be, not even in the former player side, but in like the podcasting space, like, I'm pretty sure I might be exiled from that. You know what I mean? And it's not like I'm saying anything that outrageous. I might talk about, whatever everyday life dudes do, locker room talk. Yeah, here and there. But I've even felt the effects of, trying to do things in and around the Winter Classic or working with different NHL teams. It's like it just immediately gets shut down off of one tweet or one little clip they hear where, yeah, how about you listen to the whole show, or how about you actually get to know me? I'm not that big of a psychopath or a crazy. And I just think that relates to why guys play everything safe, because it's like it's so sensitive when it doesn't need to be that way. And to showcase personality, it shouldn't come at the expense of taking away what guys truly think. And if guys want to say something, it shouldn't matter. Like, you should be able to just sling it. Who cares? Like, yeah, there's some things that you should stay away from, maybe politically, or, there's obviously, I think most guys, especially at that level, know the line. But who's to say you can't just tiptoe with that and maybe press it a little bit further, the envelope? It's just, I don't know. It just, every time I see something with the NHL and the content, it just screams vanilla to me, is all it is. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's so vanilla. Like, it's like, like the summer content, boys, is who got engaged. Like, congrats, but I don't need to see the 19th engagement. I don't give a fuck. I'm sitting here in Scottsdale, sweat my ass off, or I'm on a trip with my guy. Like, show me something cooler than that. Like, congrats, but I don't know this guy. Like, I don't need 19 guys on a slide, on an Instagram slide, all on one knee. You know what I mean? Like, I'm good. Like, show me something cool these guys are doing where, I just think it's just so vanilla. It really is.
I don't mind that either. I wouldn't mind the engagement photos and the Carfax report. Let's see the mileage and the any work that's been done.
Yeah. Like, is this, the second time you've dropped to a knee? Like, because they always say finding love for the second time, there's something beautiful about it. But like show me something cool, man. Like, I don't need to see this.
Both sides. I want the Carfax on both sides. I want to see the mileage. I want to see the repairs. I want to see what shop you've been to.
Right.
I want to see the whole thing. But
are you a Jiffy Lube guy? Or are you a Midas Touch? Like, what are we working with here?
Well, listen, you've been famously single for most of your career, so I'm curious to know, what kind of mileage are you looking at?
Well, I did have a gal, boys, believe it or not, for a while out of school. My junior year college, probably until I was like 28. So I did have a stint, half a decade on the shelf, and then right back at it, 31, like a fine wine. So yeah, I mean, I've kind of had both of, a taste of both worlds, I guess, of having a roommate as a gal and, playing an unrestricted free agent game. So yeah, I like to think I got some knowledge.
That's a good shift. That's a good 5-year shift there.
It is. Yeah. It's a good stint.
So where are you sitting at right now? How does single Jay Schmaltz go about life as a 31-year-old?
Yeah, it's, it depends what kind of game you're playing, right? Like, for me, we've been on the road so much, boys. Like, I'm not really looking. I mean, listen, who knows? I mean, I would, for the right price, everyone's got a price, right? I would maybe think about having a gal, settling down. Eventually, I want to get there. But right now, it's on the go. It's, trying to build this brand of, obviously, Hockey Night in Scottsdale and inside the media of doing different things. So that's pretty much my biggest focus.
Well, if we were to custom order your dream gal, let's say right now, that would kind of make you take a second thought, and kind of like Subway, right? Like, I want a little bit of olives, a little bit of peppers. What does that gal look like? What does she bring to the table? What is going to sway you in the other direction?
Yeah, I mean, on our relationship and finding love segment of this show, I would say 5'3".
5'3", eh? You don't like them taller?
With some tint, brunette, like maybe like a Colombian, South American, Latino mix, something like that. Yeah. Hardworking gal, sense of humor, athletic.
Luckily, I hear there's lots of those in Arizona.
There's a ton. And I just got back from Miami. So that's kind of what I'm spinning off of too, is kind of that tint look. But yeah, in an ideal world, Travi, that's probably my play. You know what I mean? I'm not asking for a ton.
Does she have to be university educated or free agent?
Yeah, I would like her to be a scholar. At least like be able to put together a sentence. I don't know if she's going to the NFL Combine, but if her Wonderlook score, I would like to have it over 30. Yeah, let's say at least a half scholar, at least a bachelor's degree in something.
What kind of weight class we talking? Featherweight, lightweight, heavyweight?
Yeah, like 112. Yeah, 115. Yeah, something like that.
5'3". That's 5'3", 112. That's not bad. That's pretty good.
Oh, it's good. It's really good.
Give you a little wiggle room too for the post babies. Add a little bit of weight on there, push it up to 130. That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's clean living.
Walk me through the origins of not only Hockey Night in Scottsdale, but Missing Curfew.
So Hockey Night in Scottsdale, obviously, I do that with my buddy Bob Gucci, who is the Heat Daddy on Twitter. Been an ex-personality for years, local guy here in Scottsdale.
Can we just say he was one of the OGs when it came to like throwing up a little bit of hockey-related comedy?
Yes, absolutely. And I've been following him since I was probably he's a year older than me, but probably like dating back to my Sioux City USHL days. And like when Twitter first kind of was popping, I was like, who is this guy? Because he's kind of tweeting different things I'm thinking, or he seems like a cool guy I'd want to hang out with. So fast forward to, when I moved down here in 2020, he was a local guy, and if you were out one night a week, he was out 7. So I'd always run into him because he was always, around the hockey guys, had, good relationships with not only Coyotes guys, but just guys that were down here training the off season. So I would see him out. We would hang out a little bit. Well, we weren't really like, real buddies or anything. I'd see him out. We'd text a little bit here and there. And then when I got done playing, I kind of just launched this idea or kind of pitched this idea at him. He was doing a different podcast at the time, but it wasn't really hockey related. I'm like, man, you got this big hockey following. You're hilarious. What if we started doing like an alt cast, like once a week, where we just kind of hung out in the stream and talk shit with people, get different guests on and watch one game a week where it's like the Hockey Night in Scottsdale game of the week. So we started doing that last year, and, we had pretty good, results or feedback, and, started to see a little bit of a climb in terms of our viewership. So we parlayed that into doing live shows where we kind of targeted our 5 or 6 biggest cities where we saw people watching. So we went up to North Dakota, where, my alum was the first ever show. Then we did Cowboys, obviously, in Calgary. We did New York City, St. Louis, and Buffalo. And yeah, man. And then we're like, okay, well, we kind of reevaluated after year 1, like, how can we really ramp this thing up? Then we started doing podcasts and vlog series where we do different things, like, the one on Halloween where we wore full gear at Texas Roadhouse and then went to the roller rink. Just different things. Like, we wanted to kind of provide not only hockey, but just comedy stuff in general, where we're coming up with skits or it's bits we're doing, and then parlay that with the live shows. So I think we're still trying to figure out exactly what Hockey Night in Scottsdale is. The running joke is this is a hockey show that talks nothing about hockey, but our fans and viewers seem to love it. And then Missing Curfew just kind of came along with doing different things with Hockey Night in Scottsdale. Obes, I never knew him, but I knew Scotty Upshaw. I played with him in St. Louis, so it was a pretty easy transition when they were like, hey, we're looking to add a guy. We've been looking at you as a free agent for the last year. Would you want to come on the show? I'm like, absolutely, let's do it. So that's been a blast this year doing Missing Curfew with those guys, because that's more hockey talk. Yeah, we do have fun and snap it around, but it's definitely more hockey talk than you're going to find on Hockey Night in Scottsdale. So that's kind of the birth of both.
Was that a cold call? Just, hey, we've been watching you. We've been enjoying what we're seeing. Come on the show. Or is that I did a couple of interviews. It went well. The chemistry was good. Feedback was good. Come on.
Yeah, it was honestly, Obes just texted me. He'd always like slide up, like you're hoping it's a girl in your DMs and you check and it would just be a dude most of the time. Well, Obes had slid up a couple of times, or throughout the year, he'd always be like, laughing at whatever we're doing or I'm doing. And yeah, it just kind of organically came into the fold of, he gave me a call like in August. He's like, do you want to come on Missing Curfew? I'm like, yeah, like, let's talk about what it would look like. Kind of went through the old game plan. Agreed on an entry-level contract, as you boys know, and you get off and running. So no, it's been a lot of fun. Even going out to Newport Beach where they are, getting in the studio, hanging out, and doing different things. They call it the Fella Tour, where we popped into different cities and done some live shows with Missing Curfew as well. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Those guys are the best. Obes is the best. He's hilarious. You guys would love him.
Well, Upshaw and I go way back, so at some point we're going to cross paths.
Yeah, Uppy's just Uppy. He's just always buzzing, bouncing off the walls, baby. So much energy. It's like, how is this guy? He just wakes up. He's just horny. He's just moving around, doing whatever. It's like, how does this guy have so much energy? He's like 42 now with 3 kids. It's crazy. So they're both the best.
That's the Fort Mackinac, man. It never leaves. I'm telling you.
It is. Yeah. It's just like fight or hold the light. He's doing all 3.
Yeah.
Another kid on the way, too. He's got crypto investments, so he's a smart guy.
Yeah, he's a crypto guy. Big, yeah. You get down that rabbit hole, you'll be sitting there with Fast Willie for a couple hours, for sure.
Oh, tell me about it, dude. I've been punching the screen the last 2 months.
I haven't dove into the crypto market yet, boys. I'm still, I don't know. I mean, it's one of these days it's going to pop off, and I'm like, God damn it, should have done it. But I haven't dipped my toes into it yet.
I don't know, man. Bitcoin, gold, real estate. Gold's doing really well right now. That's kind of saving my ass in the whole Bitcoin thing right now.
Stock market down here is getting absolutely tattooed.
I was telling Dave about that today. I got rinsed by Dollarama.
Oh, God damn. Yeah, getting beat like a rented mule. It's not perfect down here right now.
Must be nice being single, boys. I invest in food, and then I put it directly on the table for my family.
Hey, At least it's going to a good cause.
Well, to be fair, though, you got 2 employees. You got your 2 boys that are holding the camera for you and working for you, child labor, tax-free.
Right.
As opposed to me trying to put money in Dollarama, getting a rinse from the stock tanks. Or Elon, who's been absolutely crippling me the last 2 months.
Yeah, Elon's getting the little coals poured to him, too.
I'm kind of hoping he gets
The guy's putting brain chips in people who can't walk. Like, I don't understand it. Like, the things that he has done for society and humanity, like, he has literally dragged us into the 21st century. People are like, I hate this guy. I don't get it.
Wasn't he he was the savior a couple years ago with the electric cars. Not anymore.
He's saving astronauts. Like, he literally created, like, people like, we should have a vehicle that runs on electricity. I'll fix that. That guy. Like, I don't get
it's
it.
Crazy. It's insane. It's insane.
Schmaltzy, what do you make of that situation?
I mean, the craziest thing is like these terrorist groups that are just like blowing up Teslas. Like, what are you managing from that? Like, you're just taking away from innocent people, not only putting them in danger, but it's like, why are you're mad at the guys who are just going to start blowing up the cars that he came up with and invented? It's all bullshit, man. It's crazy.
Well, did you hear what they did here in Canada? If you buy an EV, you get a bit of a tax break on it, except Tesla.
Except Tesla.
Except
so
Tesla.
Just getting pity with it.
Yeah.
I saw too the other day, like my chick's in Vancouver, and we were just going for like a nice drive on Sunday afternoon, nice afternoon at the park, and we're driving by the Tesla dealership in Surrey, and there's all these people camped outside like the front entrance of the Tesla dealership, blocking the entrance with their signs. Elon's a fascist. He's a horrible person. Don't you have anything better to do? Do you not have a family to feed?
No.
Kids?
No.
Work? Education? Hobbies? Anything?
No, they train for this in university. They actually have a class, how to mess stuff up for the rest of society.
Yeah, none of the above. Common sense it's not common.
No. I agree.
It blows my mind. Like, you'd like to, and I'm sure that you think similar to us, Schmaltzy, but you'd like to think that after what's going on in the last couple of years, you kind of open your eyes up to it and you see people like that and you think, nope, you're done. I'm also kind of jealous because they're like ostriches with their heads in the sand, obliviously living. They must be so peaceful upstairs.
Look, once we started putting pool noodles in golf holes and plexiglass in between the seats in a golf cart, that was it. I was ready to check out. I was done with the world.
How funny was it the COVID when you'd play and they had the pool noodle in there? Like, it would just, everything would just rim out. So you're just like, oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, like you didn't even have to hit the hole. If it was in with like vicinity of like 3 feet, yeah, that's good. Pick it up. Just so stupid.
2 guys that I can name off the top of my head that got robbed on hole-in-ones because of that. It's like ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It is literally the most socially distanced game in the entire world, and they're like, no, there'll be parameters on that.
Yeah, so funny.
Yeah. Schmaltzy, I got to ask, one of your former teammates told me you're a pretty anti-science guy. You hate grannies. Is that true?
Hate grandmas?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, right price, I guess. Yeah.
No, that needs a little more context. That was the whole line of like, if you're not getting vaccinated, you hate grandma.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, senior citizens, they're all right. They can hang in there. We're all gonna hopefully be there someday, boys. But yeah, I don't know. I need some context for that, Travi. Who's that coming from? Where's that intel? I don't know. You don't want to reveal your source, but grandmas, I don't know.
So,
did I tweet something?
No, a former teammate mentioned that you may be the only guy who had the balls to say, I don't want to play in the scamdemic playoff bubble. I'm not getting vaxxed. See you later.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Well, that was so funny when we so the American Hockey League that year, it was Tucson. I went to Coyotes camp. They didn't give me an NHL deal, so I signed an AHL deal. I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm living in Scottsdale. Tucson's not too far down the road. It's 2 hours. I don't want to go, say, play. And I had a couple offers, maybe like in Utica and somewhere else. I was like, you know what, I don't even want to risk it. I'll just sign here. I'll play in Tucson. It's like a 3-month thing. So we played that whole year in practice rinks. The whole American Hockey League season, we were bussing everywhere from Tucson to basically San Diego, Ontario. We were going to Bakersfield. We were just bussing everywhere where normally at least you would fly to some of those spots. You could at least fly into LAX. It's a 45-minute flight. But we were taking the bone saw like 12 hours. And it was just insane. These games were meaningless. It was dressed like the seat night. It was closed to the public, all these games. And so the only division that wanted to do playoffs that year, the whole American Hockey League was done. And they're like, you know what? The West. We're going to do a little bit of a playoff just in the Western Division. There was like 8 teams. I'm like, well, what's the point of this? Like, everyone else is going home. Why are we playing like this consolation cup? So like we basically, every team like had guys like petition to sign to not play in this COVID fake Western Conference Cup, whatever it was. And everyone else ended up like chicken shitting out. Like they're like, oh, like, you know, we're scared of the GM. Like we got to play, like we got to do this. I'm like, boys, there's no insurance for this. Our season's done. They're not paying us. Why would you play in this? Like if you get hurt in this, your insurance doesn't cover you for the rest of the year, let alone next year. You won't get paid. But everyone ended up folding, and I was just a guy that stuck to my guns. I just went up to the coach, Steve Poppin, who's still coaching in Tucson. I'm like, look, Potsy, you're a good dude. I like you. But if you think I'm getting on that bus to go play in a fake playoff game all the way in Irvine, California to play the Ducks at the San Diego Gulls at the Ducks practice facility, you're out of your goddamn mind. He's like, well, I got to scratch you this weekend too. I'm like, do it, buddy. Do whatever you need to do. So I think that's what he's talking about. But yeah, I was just like, yeah, no chance. I'm good. So I think it was me and one other guy, Jalen Schmerich, who's actually still playing in Toledo in the East Coast Hockey League. Actually a sick defenseman, but it was us two are the only guys, I think, in that whole little makeshift playoff that ended up saying no. But yeah, that was so funny. They're like, he's like, what do you mean you're not going to play? I'm like, dude, these games mean nothing. Like I've already played 350 games in this fucking league. It sucks as is. I'm not playing in this fake tournament, you know? So that was funny.
How quickly did you figure out, and it sounds like you understood hockey from both angles, like the fact of being an athlete, living the lifestyle, but also that it's a business. And it sounds like that was a real business decision. When did that creep into your mind as far as like, no, I'm doing this because it's my career?
Yeah, I would say like just like going through the ringer in St. Louis. Like I had 2 really good years in the American Hockey League, and I had good value. And St. Louis, to their credit, had a really veteran team and really good players, especially on the right side of the defense. They had obviously Pietrangelo, they had Shattenkirk for my first 2 years, as well as Colton Parayko. So I saw like very quickly, like no matter what they told me, despite signing out of college, that I probably wasn't going to be a fit for at least kind of the role I was in terms of a power play guy. Even just getting minutes, like, you know, Pietrangelo's playing 27 minutes. You got Shaddy's playing 22, and then Parayko was playing like 13 at the time. And I knew it was just how big of a freak athlete he was. So I kind of saw where I was at, and I was like, yo, like I might need to get out of here because I don't think I'm really going to get the reps I need. Even when I get to the National League, it's like I'm going to be playing like 8 minutes a night. And I get that you got to, you know, earn your stripes, but I saw from that time, I was like, you know, I would just have conversations with the GM, then even Doug Armstrong or my agent, being like, yo, like if you can move Jordan while he still has stock, like let him go play somewhere else. But they didn't want to do that because, again, you know, a lot of those GMs, they don't want to look bad, or they don't want to, you know, if you trade a guy for less value and he ends up becoming the player that you project him to be, well, then again, they look stupid. So I think I really saw it from a business standpoint where I was in the stable for a long time. And then it got to the point where, you know, they held on to me for so long and didn't really utilize me how I should have been used. And, you know, that's a little bit on me, a little bit on them, whatever. It's not always the team's fault. The players got to play too with what they're given. But I just thought I really saw it from a business standpoint, like really early on, especially when you're looking at your buddies that are coming out of college and they're in lineups they're playing, and you're like if I was here, maybe I get a better chance. But I ultimately got, you know, kind of just dwindled down to a point where I had no stock. So then you fast forward to a year later, I'm in Toronto and I'm competing for a 5, 6, 7 job on a one-way. It doesn't go as planned. And now I'm like, well, okay, I got to get somewhere else. COVID. And then by the time I got to Tucson, I really saw like I was cooked. I was 27, you know, playing on an AHL one-way contract. Like that's how quickly it can change for a lot of guys. And you can see the business standpoint. They always say like you go from prospect to suspect really quickly. And I knew I was probably going to be going to Europe the next year. So then I was like, well, it's a business decision at this point because I'm going to be on a bird to Finland or Russia in the next 6 weeks. Like I can't risk getting hurt. So that's when I really like saw it firsthand, like right away, how big of a business it is. And, you know, sometimes it doesn't come down to your playing ability. It just comes down to fit. And, you know, it is what it is. I'm not the first guy to tell a story that way of it not really going your way.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You were a black ace on that 19 Stanley Cup winning team. So I'm curious to know, did you get a ring and not your name on the mug, or how did that work out at the end of the season?
Yeah, so I played 20 games. I made the team out of camp. I was there till the trade deadline, or maybe a little before the All-Star break. And at that point, I was playing like every other game. I played, I think, 20 out of the first 50 games or 45 games. And every time I would play, I thought I was pretty good, but I was only playing like 8 to 13 minutes. And then I started getting scratched like probably got scratched. I think I went on like a 10-game heater of getting scratched, and I was getting fed up. I was like, yo, like, can we figure something out here? Maybe it's getting moved or going somewhere else because you guys aren't really utilizing me. It's my 6th year in the organization. Like, what's going on here? So then I hit the waiver wire right around the All-Star break, cleared because it was like right before the roster freeze. Not saying I would have got picked up, but I would have a better chance if it was earlier in the year. So I go down to San Antonio, and that's when I knew I was so mad. I was so pissed off. I was back in the jungle. I knew I probably wasn't coming up. I had asked for a trade, and basically that's when they just buried me. And I kind of just was like, had a bad attitude. And so I didn't end up even black acing on that team. I played 20 games that year, but I didn't even, we were kind of just mutually both done with each other. It was kind of it was a bad ending in a sense of just, how it worked out. But I mean, for those guys, it was tough watching those games, especially being at home, being like, not that I would have been playing, but even just to be around it. But I was definitely happy for longtime roommate Jordan Binnington because just what he fought through. So I was still on the happy side for him. But yeah, man, that one stung a little bit for sure. Just knowing that they got a ring, and just would have been nice to be a part of that.
Where's the happy medium on that though? Because I totally understand what you're talking about. When you're getting scratched, you're not getting the opportunities, you're sour, you're pissed off because you want to play. And it's like, I have value. I can give to you. I'm giving you my everything. You just have to allow me to give it to you. But then they bury you, and you're like, well, why are you burying me? I care so much. And now you're both pissed off with each other. Like, where do you think that happy medium should be?
It's so hard, man. And you make such a good point of trying to find that. And when you're young too, and you're young, dumb, full of cum, you're just like fired up the whole time, and you're just, riding this wave of emotions. You never really, at least for me, had been through adversity in hockey my whole life. Like, it was always just, all right, where are you playing next year? Step in, top 4, power plays. Everything was just handed to me. And when you don't get that, and especially even grinding the years prior to earn opportunity after opportunity and being sent down, called up, yeah, I think you get to your point of you boil over. But in the same sense, there's no bad days in the NHL, and I wish I would have realized that and just more so just been more. I wish I would have had more just like one-on-one meetings too with GMs versus getting the agent involved. Like, just, hey, let's sit down and talk this out. What do you see here? This is what I'm seeing. Versus getting the agent in the way, and then it's a game of telephone a little bit. So I think just in terms of handling it is I think it's a lot of the times, I think just even like I said, just maybe talking to a GM just chin on chin, like just a man to a man versus getting the agent involved, I think would have done me better. I think it would have cleared up communication. And then ultimately, you just wish, both parties could find common ground. But at that point, I think the damage was done. So it's hard, man. It's really hard to manage, especially when you're given everything and you're doing the bag skates and the workouts. But I think you got to almost step aside and have someone tell you, like, okay, what's the alternative of this right now? Like, would you rather stay in the league and be a 7, or would you rather go down and ride the bus in San Antonio? Paychecks aren't as good. The lifestyle's not as good, but maybe if you just ride it out here and be a good soldier, your time will come. But yeah, that's kind of managing the impatience of it all and what comes with it.
Well, it's so easy to say too, because even like just to think of my experiences, if I had Dave come down and shake me and say, listen, you're frustrated, but life's still pretty good, right? Or same thing with you. Like, you life's good, man. You're a first-round pick. You're making good change. You're just coming down from the show. Just take a step back, take a deep breath. So easy to say, but in the moment, this is my life's work. I've dedicated everything to you, and maybe it's a little bit of ego investment, because I don't think you get to that level or any level of excellence in anything without having some degree of ego.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And when you're 24, 25, you're not seeing the ball like you would be even at our age now. And you kind of just you can kind of go back and realize, like, well, it was, if you would have, again, just stuck it out, been a good soldier, like, you've been a good dude, like now you have that good mojo around you versus, maybe how they view you as just like a punk or a kid that's like, expects more than what he should be getting. So I think that's where not only having someone that's gone through it, whether that's an advisor or a family friend, or if you're lucky enough to have a parent that plays like that, those like invaluable lessons, I think, are really big and definitely what kids could use, especially going through similar things. So yeah, man, it's definitely when you're just doing it, especially this, the first person in your family or your, whatever, it's like there's a lot of shit going on that you don't really realize at the time, and just be patient. I think play the long game is kind of what I would have maybe done different.
Well, you come from a hockey family, I would assume, since your brother, cousin, everybody plays in the show, or is this like a first generation hockey family?
Yeah, first generation. My dad and uncles were football players. They were actually played at Nodak. They were football guys. All three of my uncles played at, or two of my uncles played at North Dakota than my dad. So all three brothers were football players. My dad was a wide receiver. One uncle was a free safety, and my uncle Mark was a linebacker. Though just absolutely berry guys. So yeah.
They ever give you advice, like when you're going through those hard times, of like just calm down, son, or is it like he didn't play hockey and didn't quite get it?
Yeah, I think they can help you, but at the same time, college football is not the same as playing at the highest level, right? And it's a different sport, and you're dealing with GMs and, college hockey, college football. That's great, but it's not a business. And when you turn pro,
it is now, according to the NCAA.
Yeah, now it is for sure with those bags those kids are getting. But yeah, at least when I was, in college, and my dad and uncles, they for sure can help you. But going through it for the first time is just like, whoa, like, you got to take some on the chin, I think.
Can you talk about, and I was listening to an interview you had the other day, I thought it was really good. You're talking about when you'd finished hockey, you decided to retire recently, and you felt almost like worthless and useless for a period of time. Like, can you take me through like that mindset of like trying to find yourself after you've basically like stripped away your hockey identity?
Yeah, I think like you tie so much of your identity to the hockey player. Like everyone knows you your whole life is just the hockey player, and that's what you do. That's what you are. If you're having a good day or your mood on how you've been playing lately, and it's all you think about. You become hyper focused. You become OCD about your profession, and it becomes just who you are internally. So when that ends and you're like, holy, like, yeah, I want to do something different now. Yeah, obviously I want to go into this media space that I've been thinking in my head for X amount of years I've been wanting to do in entertainment. But then you actually do it. You're like, okay, now you're reintroducing yourself as, you get caught. Like, it's like, yeah, I'm Jordan Schmaltz. You're like, oh, I'm not the hockey player. What do I'm like starting this podcast. So that's like this whole identity crisis of having to shed, a layer of skin and become the new person you are at face value of from this day on. You're no longer the hockey player. So I think that was the biggest thing, is like, that in-between phase of kind of becoming who you are, but also like reintroducing people to what you do now, and then meeting new people. It's like, well, you're not the hockey player and you used to play hockey. That's something you used to do. But now it's like, okay, this is who I am from this day forward. So I think that comes with a little bit of a, not so much identity crisis, but it really makes you look within and tap into your intuition of who you actually are at the core, that you're not just a hockey player. There's a lot more different things to you, way more, there's way more angles or depths to you. So that was the biggest thing. I was like, shit, like, I'm doing this, but you're not the hockey player anymore. You're this guy that talks about hockey or entertainer. So that took me a little bit to get through that and work through that, and feel good about what I'm doing now. And yeah, man, it's definitely a process. You hear athletes all the time talk about that, though. It's like, and the biggest thing is, I think for me, is you got to find a purpose, like quick. Like, I didn't want to sit around. Like, yeah, there's some days I might have been feeling shitty and maybe second guessing, could I go play hockey again? Could I go somewhere in Europe? Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Where it's like, I got to find a purpose of my new thing, and I got to go for that, and I got to set my stakes on what that looks like. Because once you lose that purpose of whatever you're doing, like, that's when you're swimming in circles, and you hear about anxiety or depression and different things like that, is because you don't have that purpose of why you wake up every day. So that's what I wanted to find quick. And I knew what I wanted to do, but it's just more so putting in the plan in motion.
Well, as you said, it's not exclusive to you or to anybody in hockey. I mean, it's across the board in all professional sports. And in saying that, do you think there should be more support from the PA specifically when guys are transitioning out of the game?
Absolutely. I just think there's so many guys that are not simpletons, but just hockey players. And you get out of hockey and you have no idea what you want to do. It's not like most hockey guys can just go step in and work a 9 to 5. Like that is so like anything you've done your whole life. It's like, you're not going to go put on a suit and tie and sit in corporate America and sit in your cubicle. Like, someone's going to end up getting punched or suckered. It's just like not in your DNA. So it's like, what can these guys do? What can you put a plan in place? And whether that's like, counseling, therapy, or just even just like advisors for ex-players of guys that ultimately didn't make enough just to retire on, or guys that need a purpose that did make enough and need something to do. So whether that's something in hockey or, just like introducing guys into what you want to do. I remember my dad gave me really good advice of right when I was done. It's like, go sit in on some of these things and see if you actually like it. Talk to this guy. You might not want to do that job, but here's a number and it's medical sales. Like, is that something you see yourself doing? Well, talk to Tim Brown, for example, and see what that would look like, or go shadow him or go. I remember when I was first done, I had called Darren Pang, a friend of the show, and I was like, hey, can I just like come shadow you at a game at Mullet Arena? I just want to see you and John Kelly in the booth. He's like, yeah, perfect. And I just sat there with the headset on. I sat one period with him and John Kelly from St. Louis on Fox Sports Net when they were doing it. And then I went one period in the truck and I saw the behind the scenes things. And I did that a couple times. I was like, yeah, of course, this would be awesome to do some broadcasting or whatever. Then I would sit in I would do every podcast and see how I like that. Or so there's just different things. Like, you just got to like throw yourself out there. But I think a lot of guys are hesitant to start because it's like, it might not be that perfect fit like hockey was, but it's like, you got to play the game. Like, you got to, buy in, go get some chips in the game. See if you like that. If you don't, well, fuck it, pivot over here. But I think the NHL and just the PA in general could do a way better job of help speeding up that process for guys. And I think that's something Glenn Healy and those guys should, if they're doing or trying to get better at, they should definitely put more plans in place, because not a lot of guys know what they want to do.
There's only so many jobs in the media. There's only so many jobs with teams going in and being a scout and working your way up that way and coaching. And for the rest of the guys, like you said, I mean, podcasting seems to be a really popular option right now, but you're right. A lot of guys feel like, well, I got to stay involved in the game somehow. Like you said, that defines me, and people will look at me differently if I don't at least have hockey somewhere in the title of what I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Or if there's a financial advisor or there's a money guy that's a former NHL player, maybe that, is something you really want to go into, and you still have that team atmosphere. It's totally out of hockey, but at least you get that locker room feel with working with ex-hockey players. And to your point there, in terms of just, there's only so many jobs within hockey. It's always funny when guys retire and, really good, illustrious careers, say 700-800 games. Like, I want to be a GM. Okay, well, you're going to have to go scout first. Well, I don't want to scout. Well, you don't just get handed these jobs. You got to get on the road and you got to start climbing the ladder, because unless you're a household Hall of Fame name of the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, they don't just give out these jobs. There's only one Steve Yzerman. There's only one Brendan Shanahan. It's not like they just Wayne Gretzky. They don't just give out these jobs to your run-of-the-mill players. And a lot of guys, I think they think it's going to be way easier just because they do have a great resume, but you still got to grind for whatever you want. And I think that can be articulated a lot better too. I always find it funny. It's like guys you talk to, yeah, I want to be a GM, but I don't want to go on the road 15 days a month. I only want to scout home games. Right. I don't want to go watch American Hockey League games. No college, no junior. Well, you know what? There's no room for you. Then you're not going to they don't just hand out the keys to you here. So yeah. I always find that funny.
Yeah, you got to have some skin in the game. Now, in kind of pairing this with earlier what we were talking about, but it would be really interesting. I think, again, going back to golf and how they're doing it right, you look at an outfit like Country Club Adjacent when they show up at these Live Golf Tour events and they're asking questions of the golfers and they're completely out of left field, like they're not the standard questions. Those are the ones that are going viral. Those are the ones that people are watching going, oh, that's great. I would love to see you guys out of Missing Curfew or Hockey Night in Scottsdale go out actually and be part of the press corps and ask these guys some questions that they'd probably go, yeah, Schmaltz, let's go with you. I'd prefer a question from you than these guys that have been doing it for 20 years asking the same stuff.
But to be fair, at the same time, though, could you imagine what the mainstream media will do if Schmaltz asking honest questions to the guys for the Leafs and that scumbag Steve Simmons of the Toronto Sun is like, oh my God, I'm going to have a heyday today.
But you got to find a happy medium. I mean, be somewhere between Schmaltz and him, there's a really good interview in there somewhere.
You're preaching to the choir, and you're starting to see more of it where guys are getting out there and speaking out on just non-traditional platforms. But I even think TV's dying. Like all these kids that are growing up, they're watching YouTube golf, they're watching YouTube TV, they're watching different docuseries. There's so many ways to just digest information versus the TSNs, the ESPNs, just the run-of-the-mill stuff that we all grew up watching. And I think that we're going to see a real big change here coming up. It's just a matter of like, how do you kick down that door, especially within hockey? Like how can I get in and get a media pass and be in the locker room scrum? Not that I would even want to do that, but that would be pretty funny if I showed up in a jumpsuit and some aviator shades and a do-rag and I was interviewing, you know what I mean? Just like selling, like just completely catching a guy off guard would be hilarious. Be like, dude, what are you doing? Like going up to like Willie Nylander, like, Swish, what are you doing, dude? Get out of here. Like, you know, then having a serious question for him would be pretty funny.
Well, look, and some people said it was pretty cringe when Biz went out on the ice with Bedard before the Winter Classic, but at least they're trying. Like, they're doing stuff. Yeah. It's fun. Let's try it. Let's show some personality.
I agree. And that's something that's like, even if you look at just like, you know, ESPN here in the States, what they're doing. Like, I love John Buccigross. I love Steve Levy, but their coverage of hockey outside of that, and even just like their panel when they do games is, again, it's like painful. It's so vanilla.
You guys were blessed to have Jay and Dan down at Fox for the period of time that you did.
Right. Yeah. And oh my God, are those guys the best?
And Swishy, I don't know if you've ever seen these stats. I was looking at like our stats, like for the Sling the Biscuit show, and then like my own personal channel, like 100K. But most people are watching on their TV. Like the traditional television is dead. YouTube, your phone is the new TV. Like a good friend of mine, Michael Downey, has a channel called Downey Live. He's based out of Vancouver, over 1 million subscribers. And him and I were chatting business the other day. And he's like, dude, I'm making my videos for TV because 70% of the people watching my videos that are getting millions of views are on the TV. Like it is the new way that people are consuming.
Isn't it funny too, where you'll get like messages or a tweet or like you said, of people watching like podcasts on their huge TV. It's like they're watching on a 60-inch TV. I always get a kick of it because this year at North Dakota.
Why do you think I started dressing better?
Yeah, exactly. I even got a collar on.
I saw that.
You know, I know it's hidden, but it's there. But it's funny. Like even my cousin at North Dakota, he was a senior this year. Like one of their Thursday night traditions was to watch Hockey Night in Scottsdale in one of the rooms on the TV on the road or at home. It's like I don't watch podcasts like that. I'm more of old school. I'll just go Apple and just throw the old headphones in. But all the kids under even older than 25 to 30, but all the kids at least under 25, that's all they do is they just scroll YouTube and they just watch that right on their TV all day long. It's really crazy.
Oh, you wouldn't believe my kids 13 and 10. They don't believe that dad. They can see dad's on YouTube, but they're like, Dad, your numbers. You're not on YouTube. No, not with your numbers.
Yeah, it's funny, man. It's just that's the new era we're in. Like they couldn't tell you who's working on ESPN or some of these channels. They have no clue and they don't care because their stars are YouTubers.
Are you guys doing anything in Hockey Night in Scottsdale or Missing Curfew, like with you being on the shows to cater towards that the YouTube is the new TV?
I think for Hockey Night, for sure. Like we just dropped another vlog, like a ski vlog in Utah, where we were just kind of like chopping it up on the lift. We did like a day in the life in Park City, Utah. So that is something that we're trying to develop, like these YouTube series that are just built for YouTube along with the pod. But it's like a mix between, we're going to drop a basketball video where me and Rob play one-on-one. And it's a little bit of acting. It's a little bit of real shooting. And it's coming up with a script within, making it as real as possible for the viewer. So that's like something like we love doing, is editing that, putting together, a loose script and then ultimately executing on it. So that's something we're trying to do in terms of our YouTube is give the viewers these vlog series where it's like, it's different than the live show or a podcast, but it's like real life shit with a touch of comedy.
Does it scare you when they just had that deal a couple weeks ago, I guess, at the time of this going up, with Rogers paying $7.7 billion for 12 years, at least in Canada, for the TV deal? You like to think that over the next 12 years, something is going to completely change. With YouTube already being at the forefront, and they want to focus on the old school way. And I know I don't mean to be rude because I know you do radio.
No, hey, listen, I'm a traditional broadcaster for almost 30 years now. I get it, but I saw this years ago. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I was one of the first guys in Canada to actually repurpose my radio show and put it on a podcast. I'm like, this is the future. Like, is no one else seeing this? I mean, it's pretty obvious where this is going.
Yeah, it's nuts. I think like, I at least there was rumors of like Gary's not going to retire until he can get a deal done with Amazon, and like that's going to be like his hat he's going to hang his career on. Where, you saw that deal obviously what was signed in Canada, but I think he's going at Amazon, and I think he's going at other competitive streaming services, and he's going to really try to, get the bag per se from one of these. And that's a route, especially in the US, I could definitely see happening. And especially, within the next, I don't know, whenever their TV deal's up here, I don't know when it is, but that's like kind of what I'm hearing in the rumor mill.
Yeah, well, I don't see a lot of American networks fighting over who's going to get the rights to the NHL this season, right?
No. Remember when it used to be on Versus Network, and the Outdoor Life Network down here was hilarious. It's like we're going on some random ass channel, the Outdoor Life Network. Meanwhile, like there's some dude hunting a 12-point buck, and then okay, Carolina versus Philadelphia. There's gonna be 20 people watching this game. So that was always funny. It's like, what the that's when the NHL was really in the dumps, especially down here.
When we were talking about the stats too during the Four Nations Cup, that bowling had more viewership, soccer had more viewership than the Four Nations tournament. It's crazy when you really break it down. I know they keep talking about the game's at a great position, viewership is up. I don't know, man. I don't know if I buy that.
Yeah, yes and no. Like obviously it's good in terms of what hockey's been at, but it's such a beautiful game that just continues to I don't know, like it just seems like yes, there is more viewership, but it also just seems like it's kind of stagnant. Like I just always just look at like the models of like what, like I know it's never going to be the same as basketball, obviously, but like basketball contracts, like in the next couple of years, those guys are gonna be making $100 million a year. Meanwhile, some guy in the NHL is grinding for $750K before tax. It's like, what can we do here to really heighten these salaries for the players and ultimately get more eyes on it? And even like UFC, I remember like that product, like the product's always been the same. It's just that the commissioner at the helm, Dana White, has just done an unbelievable job, not only marketing just his fighters, but also just the sport and the brand in general. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, but look at it this way. Without Joe Rogan, I don't think it's as big as it is. He saw a star that's going to be able to push that, and that's what the NHL is missing. I mean, they're trying with the PK Subans, they're trying with the Biz Nasties, but they're trying on a little micro level instead of just going, here, what do you think we should do? Let's model everything around you the way they did with Joe.
Well, don't you think that starts with the commissioner though? Like the next commissioner has got to be like a Dana.
Got to be you. It's got to be you.
You heard it here first. Jay Swish, the next commissioner of the NHL. Give me the fucking job. Yeah, I ain't scared. Give me the job.
Jay Commish.
Yeah, exactly.
Swish. Oh, here. Better luck next year.
Yeah. Who is that? Oh, yeah. We're gonna pass on him.
Dude, I'm dying to hear the story though. Just to kind of switch off the commissioner talk for a sec. You tell a legendary story of decommitting from University of Wisconsin. Would you mind retelling that?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to take you back to circa 2008. Just got drafted to the USHL, Sioux City, Iowa, 6th overall pick. I don't know who they picked before that, but I probably should have been 1st overall. How are you? Futures draft. Luke Strand, who's now coaching at the University of Mankato State, was the coach at the time, drafted me to come to Sioux City. And the year before that, I was in 8th grade, and I was at the University of Wisconsin, their camp. They'd always put it on. Badger Hockey would put it on. It would always be like some pretty good players, all high school players, and maybe even a year out of high school, and they would get looks at different players. A big factor was it was a moneymaker. So this camp was put on in like July. And I had just gotten drafted, and I was going to go to the Futures camp. I wasn't going to play in the USHL because I was too young at the time, but the Futures draft, they'd always draft kids at 15, and then the following year you go play at 16. So I was not even 15 yet because I was a late birthday, and I was at that University of Wisconsin camp, and I played pretty well. And Mike Eves had offered me a scholarship. So I went to, check out the campus, got an interview, this and that. And at the time, it'd just be a verbal commitment. So he had offered me a scholarship to play at UW. And at the time, UW, right in my backyard, was unbelievable. Despite my allegiance and probably loyalty really to North Dakota, just because my whole family's from there. And obviously my uncles and dad had played football there. That was always my favorite school. But you offer a scholarship to a kid that's 14 years old. Yeah, I'm going to take that. So I ended up committing at 14. And that year I played in Chicago. I played U16 for the Mission. So going to the USHL camp the next year, probably knowing I was going to play there, it was going to be my junior year in high school. And Wisconsin just took a turn for the worse. They were shitty. Marco Siki was the D coach. He was pumping out all these defensemen over the years. The Jake Gardner, Cody Golubeff, Ryan McDonough, Brendan Smith. John Ramage was even a name in there. He was pumping out all these really good defensemen over the years. And that's why I wanted to go there, because he was like the D whisperer. So he takes off to Ohio State. They have a dog shit year that year. I'm playing in Chicago. So I'm like, fuck, like this team, they're pretty bad. Like, I don't know if I can go here anymore. So I get to Sioux City, Iowa, and it's right around July. And I'm at main camp there. And I talked to my dad. I'm like, yo, like, I think I'm going to decommit. So I'm like, okay, well, he's like, well, you just think about it for a few days. Okay. I've been thinking about it for a couple of weeks, but it kind of just got to the point where I needed to verbalize that to him. So he's like, yeah, do whatever you want. Like, if your heart's somewhere else, and ultimately it was going to be in North Dakota, but he's like, Osiki left that was my guy. I got to decommit. So like, well, you got to call Mike Eves. And I'm like, fuck. All right. Well, so I never forget it. I'm staying at the Days Inn, the old One Diamond in Sioux City, Iowa, just outside of the practice rink. And I'm 15 years old. I can't even drive a fucking car. So I call Mike Eves, and I'm a little nervous. So I have my buddy, Taylor Ward, come into the room with me. And I'm pulling out my LG flip phone back in the day, and I put that bitch on speaker. And I'm like, hey, Mike, hey, Coach Eves, how you doing? He's like, hey, Jordan, how you doing? Like, how's camp going, this and that. I remember him asking me, he'd always ask me, so you seen any good movies lately? He would always ask me. It's like, dude, like, small talk. No, I haven't seen any good movies. Slapshot's still my favorite movie, Mike. But hey, just to tell you, I'm actually gonna decommit, and I'm gonna open up where I'm gonna go. And he stopped me dead in my tracks. He starts yelling at me. He's like, "Fuck you! Are you fucking kidding me? You fucking piece of shit! You think you're gonna go somewhere else? Nobody." I don't think he said nobody wants you. He's like, nobody's gonna commit you right now. We were the first ones in there. Like, starts going off of me. And my buddy Taylor's sitting on the bed in there, and we're just like trying not to laugh. I'm like, dude, like, I've never been yelled at this hard in my life, let alone by a 53-year-old coach. He's coming off the top rope. And I got the phone just like I'm holding out here like this. I think I even put it on the floor, and we're just like trying not to laugh. We're like, young kids are 15 years old. So he goes on a tirade for probably like 2-3 minutes. Like, it was long, like maybe not that long, but in real time, it felt like it was 3 hours. So he is going off on me. He's calling me this and that. He never called me a pussy or anything, but he's calling me like, you just kept, I can't believe you me like this and this, just F-bomb after F-bomb. And then he like pauses for like, I would say probably 15 seconds. And it's just awkward. And I just go, yeah, coach, I don't even know what to tell you. And he just goes, fuck you. And he hung up on me. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm decommitted now, and I'm probably never going to talk to Mike again. So that was that story. And then fast forward like 10 years later, we're at the Eagles Nest, Verona, Wisconsin, hometown USA, where I'm from. In hometown USA, population 8,000 people. I walk in the locker room just on a random summer July day. I'm going for a skate with the skills coach there. Pavelski's there. My brother's there. We're walking in for this skate. We go into locker room 2. I turn the corner because it's kind of a blind spot. I look up, and it's Ever right at my 12 o'clock. And I go, oh my God, I hadn't seen this guy since, I had talked to him. Obviously we had played against him in college. We had whacked him every time we played him, which was great at North Dakota, beat him every time. I think I was 5-0-1 against him. And I see him, and he just like, it was like deer in the headlights for both of us. And like, he just tried to act like it was like the nicest guy ever. It was pretty funny, but yeah, man, that was the story. It was, as a 15-year-old, I was like, what the is going on, man? I was like, this guy's crazy. Like, dude, I'm not that good. Like, you got some pretty good players. Like, why is this stinging you so much? So yeah, man, that was wild. I never forget. T Ward, we're sitting in there, and then I think we just went to like Outback Steakhouse after and got the bloomin' onion, and the bread at Outback is good too. So yeah, pretty funny.
You've been sitting on that for a while.
Oof, man.
Yeah.
I don't even know where we go from there. I think we close on that one. You finish on a high. As you know, in comedy, you finish when you got the audience.
Yep. So that was the story, boys. Hey, I appreciate you for having me on. This was awesome.
Well, come on. Have you seen him since? Have you talked to him since?
Ever?
Yeah.
Just that time. I was probably 23. And then he had coached.
Was your asshole puckering when you saw him?
Oh, when I walked in that locker room, I was like, yeah. Well, it was so quick. I like almost like, I think I like smirked. I was like, and like my brother was with me too. We're both walking in like flip flop, like July day, like second year pro, feeling good, and all of a sudden just like probably late for the skate too because you're always running on, you're coming from a workout or a tea time. It's like I look up, I'm like, holy shit! So but he was on the ice with us. He didn't say a word.
Wow.
He was on the ice with us. Yeah, man, it was funny. And then he coached in Cleveland in the American Hockey League. I think I played against him one time, but yeah, never anything after that. It was just I had seen him like just that one time, and it was funny, man. It was like, holy shit, that's Ever, fella. How you doing? Let's go out. Hey, let's go have a beer after this, kid. What's up? So
last question: what's your current handicap?
I'm like a sneaky 10. Probably maybe like an 11 or 12 now, but I would probably buy. I would say 10 would be fair. I've been playing hand to God, I've been playing way more tennis lately. I'm on the tennis surge, which is I love the game. I love to compete. And
Careful, that's a slippery slope to get to pickleball, just for the record.
I know, and I hate pickle dick. I hate it. I'm a tennis guy. Pickleball.
Well, listen, I don't think we'd have to trade too many strokes if we went out there and played around, so let's try and pencil that in sometime in the near future.
Yeah, we should. I mean, I don't know. Like, I usually try to get to Grand Forks, once a summer, so maybe I could slide up to 29. The only problem with that neck of the woods, fellas, like the national bird up there is a mosquito. Like those things are big.
Yeah, they'll steal your wallet, man.
Oh my God, won't they? Like, I've gotten actually picked up by a mosquito before, put me right back down. But yeah, those things are like the national bird. That North Dakota, Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, let's try to do it. Let's line it up. I've been trying to get up to Winnipeg too for maybe like a live show or something. So if we can come to terms with someone up there,
hey, let me know if you need an in or whatever you need.
Yeah,
if I can make some phone calls for you, yeah, I can find you a venue in no time.
Should do Rumors Comedy Club. Him and Gucci. What do you think?
Stage isn't big enough. You couldn't set up a stage. That's the only problem. I got a better spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll chat off the show.
All right, boys.
Well, anyway,
give it a wrap. Everybody, thank you so much for watching this episode with Jay Schwish, the People's Insider, Jordan Schmaltz, host of Mist and Curfew, host of Hockey Night in Scottsdale, Butter Golf. He only does everything. Again, there's another episode in our summer series. We do new episodes every single Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 in the prairies, 9 in the foothills of Calgary, and 8 on the Pacific Northwest coast. I'm Travis Ridgen. That's Dave Wheeler. We'll see you next Sunday. Thanks for watching.